Good morning and welcome to my channel, Stitches with Love. If you're returning, welcome back. My name is Elizabeth and this is where I share all about my knitting adventures on and off the needles. And today I'm going to talk about something I have on the needles that is halfway to being off the needles. So if you're interested, grab a cup of something cozy and come along with me. I don't know what time it is. I think it's around 7 o'clock in the morning on Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. If you are someone who celebrates and participates in that holiday. For years, our family had big Thanksgiving dinners and they would alternate between my mother's siblings. And then we did the same thing for Christmas. We do things a bit differently now, but that's okay. As much as we can, we still have our special family gatherings, and in our immediate family of 4, we do pizza for Thanksgiving because my husband and I both work in industries that don't ever shut down. He works at a grocery store, and they're only ever closed on Christmas Day, and then I work in healthcare. I work as a receptionist at a retirement senior living community, but there has to be somebody there at all times, even in the independent building where I work, that is able to respond to pages or answer questions or, that kind of thing. And so being home on Thanksgiving Day itself has not been something we've really ever been able to do because of the work we do. So in our family, we still do a Thanksgiving dinner. We just do it a different day, right around Thanksgiving. And then our immediate family has started the tradition of having pizza Thanksgiving Day. So I've got the pizzas. They're in the refrigerator. They'll be cooked up tonight when Alex gets off work. And then I will have something when I get home from my job. So Turkey Day in our family doesn't usually include turkey on the day itself, but it's coming. Do you guys have any, those of you who do celebrate, do you have any Thanksgiving traditions? I'm kind of curious how other people celebrate. All right, on to the knitting business. So we're not going to talk about the November socks of the month today because they're definitely not done. And I want to talk about these instead. So these are now officially to the halfway point of being done. Last night I finished the heel flaps and I turned the heels. And I would like to say that when I first started learning how to knit socks, doing the heel turn was the hardest thing I think to learn. In addition to working with double pointed needles. But then when I started learning how to do socks 2 at a time on one long needle, I found that maybe the second hardest thing to learn was how to turn a heel on the same needle. You have to do it twice over. And then you have to go back and you have to pick up all of the gusset stitches and the heel stitches. And so it was interesting. I had some moments last night that were, I wouldn't say difficult. I wouldn't really say stressful. They were just a little bit, I don't know, tedious, maybe a little anxious because, I haven't done very many socks 2 at a time. And so the ones that I have done, there's always been some issue with finishing the heel part and then having to go back and pick up stitches so that I can get back to the point where I'm working in the round. So I watched a lot of tutorials and did some research on how that's done. And I thought it was really interesting because there are tutorials for everything on YouTube, including how to do this. And that's great. But I also found that there are different ways to work a heel and pick up those stitches and get back to working in the round when you're doing this method of sock knitting. And that was overwhelming because it was already kind of an overwhelming technique to learn. And so it's taken me a while to find, for me, what is the easiest way of doing a heel and picking up the gussets when doing 2 at a time sock knitting. I think I have found what works for me, but I wanted to only do it one time. On the other pair of socks I'm doing right now, 2 at a time, and on the previous one, I had to rip back, and I didn't want to do that with these socks because it's tedious, it's time consuming, and this particular pair of socks definitely has a deadline, and I didn't want to take time away from working on these socks and making progress because I had to rip something back and start over. So I found a really good tutorial, and I watched it several times. And then when I felt really confident, I would play the tutorial, work on the section of my sock, and then pause. And then I would play it again to watch the next section and then pause. And that's how I managed to get through the heel turns and picking up the stitches for the gussets on this pair of socks. And you know what? It went perfectly. I was so anxious the whole time I was doing it because I just didn't know how it was going to turn out. And I'm very pleased with it. I didn't have to rip anything out, and I'm back to the point that I can just concentrate on working in the round. So now today's goal is to finish the gusset and make some good progress on the foot part of the sock. And I think if I can finish the gusset and make good progress on the foot length, then I will set them aside for a little bit and work on my November sock of the month. So we'll see. Those are my knitting goals for today. And then after I get those 2 pairs of socks done, I still have lots of other socks to work on, but those don't have deadlines. Mostly, I have 1 pair I'm going to try to get done for Alex for Christmas, and another pair I'd like to try and get done for Michael for Christmas, and then I do have some for Felix I need to cast on and make for Christmas. But I think that in volunteering to do this particular pair of socks, I didn't really think about the time, because when you're doing socks 2 at a time, although you get a full pair finished at the same time, they do take maybe a little more time. I guess it depends on the knitter. For me, because it's still a fairly new technique, it does take a little more time because you're doing twice as many stitches at the same time. And I didn't really consider that when I started this project. So if I'm going to do, I think, any project, I really need to do a better job of considering the time frame, considering how long it's going to take to make something, and when it needs to be done by, if there is a specific date in mind. Like these are due on Sunday for what I'm doing. And today is Thursday. So I really only have a couple more days if I also plan to wash and block them, which I do. So really I need to have them done by Saturday night so that I can do that and have them ready for Sunday. So we'll see how things go. I never know quite how my knitting days are going to go until I actually get started on my day. I haven't been up for very long. I haven't combed my hair or gotten dressed. I'm still in my robe, as you can see. But it's Thanksgiving Day, and my boys are, of course, on break from school. And I don't need to go to work until this afternoon. And so we're just going to have a nice quiet day. And I don't think we really have plans. I double checked to see what channel the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade is coming on. And if you're interested, they're streaming it on Peacock, which is a subscription. We do not have that, but we do have NBC, which is where they're also going to be airing it. So we get NBC out here where we live, and we don't have a subscription that has to be paid to get it. And so my boys are really excited they get to watch the parade. That was always a big thing in our family growing up, was getting up Thanksgiving morning, having some kind of really simple breakfast, and watching the big parade. And that's just a tradition that has never really left. As I got older and I lived on my own with my husband, we were kind of limited in what kind of TV channels and things we were able to get. And so there have been some years where I haven't been able to see it, and that's okay. But it's really fun getting to still have that tradition today. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to finish this round of just plain knitting, and then I'm going to start the decreases to shape those gussets. And I'm going to have my coffee, and I think I'm just going to have a nice quiet morning before I do anything else today. If you are out there celebrating today, or even if you're not, I hope that you have a lovely Thanksgiving Day, and that you find something that you are thankful for and grateful for, and that your day is just lovely and blessed and full of joy and fellowship, whatever you're doing. Until next time, we will see you later. Happy knitting and happy Thanksgiving.